Hello, everyone, and welcome to TVCaptive.com presents the As Seen on TV podcast for the originals, Season 1, Episode 14, Long Way Back from Hell. I'm your host, Dom, and with me I have my co-host, Mike.
Your co-host Mike, who just got his headphones back in time to hear you say that, because I pulled them out of my ear like an idiot.
Perfect.
Perfect. Today, joining us as a special guest is my pain-in-the-ass cat, who you can see sitting 3 inches from the monitor, waiting for me to move the cursor so she can attack the little monster.
Do you want me to steal the cat from you? I could do that real quick.
Yeah. No, wait, we don't need that. There we go.
I'll take him. There, I got him.
There you go. There she is.
Yep. Hi, Josie.
Meow.
Here.
It's kind of crazy. Hold on, keep holding.
Here, I'll give you Josie
crazy
back.
how they look kind of similar.
I gave you Josie back.
Hi, girlie. Oh, no, I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry. Get out of my beard.
You want to hand me Josie again?
Yeah, I'll hand you Josie. There we go. To the screen with the.
No, there. Thanks.
She's looking at me like I'm I'm a horrible person.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Anyway, what'd you think of this episode?
I think it's better now with cats.
Yeah. Meow.
Anyway, the episode was good. It answered some questions, like what Genevieve wanted in all of this, because I was curious what her stake was and everything.
Yes. So we've definitely found out the fate of Sophie. She is in fact dead.
Yes, Sophie is in fact dead, being bricked into the mausoleum.
Yes, we saw that when Elijah crashed the witch's
consecrating ceremony.
Yeah, that. Couldn't think of the name of it.
Suddenly a man goes flying, and it's like, what was that? Oh, it's a vampire.
Yeah. So
I have to move like this around so I can read the fucking screen with the cat here.
Oh, so Elijah, went to the ceremony, looking for some answers for where you can find Klaus and Rebecca.
Yep.
And ends up receiving a puzzle, which was called the Debonen. And it's basically a riddle that is inked onto your body magically. And when you solve it, it disappears. What did you think of this magic riddle?
It was entertaining. I mean, the words got scried into his skin, and I'm like, what the hell is all this? And I was thinking it was some kind of punishment, like all kinds of different words and stuff, like just names of people, maybe that Elijah's killed, or who knows what it was. But it seemed like a pretty effective riddle for young witches. It's like, yeah, if you want these tattoos off your skin, you got to figure this shit out.
Yeah, it seemed pretty interesting to me, but it more so seemed like the riddle was meant for Marcel and not Elijah, because Elijah, just with the riddle himself, doesn't seem like he could have been able to answer that. It took Marcel to have his previous knowledge to be able to push Elijah in the correct direction, but I think that was the intended method of this riddle. Was to get Marcel involved.
Possibly, yeah. I think it was more who's gonna watch it? Brain. No lie. I think Elijah would have eventually figured it out, but not nearly in as quickly.
Yeah.
And this, like you said, got Marcel involved.
Yep. And which definitely seemed like the plan to me.
Yeah.
The witches have it out for the vampires. They want the whole faction taken apart. And we saw Papa Tunde a few episodes back, and he seemed badass. But now we have Genevieve here, and she is just at a completely different level. Oh. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
this is what's gonna happen.
She's at a completely different level. She had this secret that could single-handedly tear the Mikealson family apart. So, what do you think this means for the Mikealson family now?
Klaus is angry. What else is new?
He's always angry.
He's always angry. Rebecca's gonna get, most of that anger directed at her, while Elijah tries to stop Klaus from hurting her. I feel like we're walking down the exact same road we've been down before, at some point or another. Anyway, this cat. I'm sorry. Anyway, What does this mean for the Mikealson family? I don't know. I would have loved to see that the master plan was to resurrect Michael in some way, shape, or form.
I would
Because
definitely like that.
so would I.
We had a lot of talking about different things here. One of which was Cole, and I was so hoping to get just. Cole was one of my favorite originals, and we had a very brief appearance of him in the pilot episode, but we have not seen or heard of him again. This is the second time now he's been mentioned this episode. I was just hoping a little glint of it. Cole actually has been cast on another show now. He will be doing the Supernatural spinoff. He will be a shapeshifter on that show. So he's still on the CW. He's still paired with them. So I'm assuming that they're filmed under the
In
same
Vancouver?
kind of not Vancouver, because I know isn't the originals actually filmed in Louisiana, or I thought they were.
I honestly don't know.
I thought it was actually filmed in New Orleans.
Well, I can find that out right now, assuming that the cat moves. But continue.
But just the fact that it's under the same network, I think they have the flexibility to fix any scheduling issues. So I don't think this is mean just because he was cast somewhere else. I don't think this is mean that we've necessarily seen the last of Cole, but it kind of makes it a little more unlikely that we'll see him again. Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of disappointed with that news, but I was excited at the same time to be able to see a little bit more of him.
I don't think we've seen the last of Sophie because they have her cast for 22 episodes. Anyway,
Flashbacks, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, I'm just looking for like details and stuff like that. Anyway, I would really like this cat to move.
So you can pick it up and move it. So
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
So-
Okay, time to go, sweetie.
So we've had Genevieve. At first, she seemed very sincere to Klaus that she really wanted to help him. Did she fool you at all with that? It seemed like she had a vendetta against Rebecca and that she legitimately wanted to help Klaus at first.
At first, yeah, and then I thought, I'm like, okay, so she just cut him open, she pulled this dagger out, which that answers the question of where that dagger went. And now I'm thinking to myself, all right, when's she gonna stick it back in him? Because like that's what I was waiting for. But
She didn't. She did not. But then we got to see some Rebecca flashbacks. We got to see her in the 1900s, the early 1900s, specifically during the 1919 influenza epidemic. Why? We saw Rebecca playing a nurse at a hospital, at a sanatorium during this time. Why do you think she didn't heal the patients with vampire blood?
yeah, that's a good question. Does vampire blood, as we know it, cure all diseases, or does it just heal wounds?
It seems based on the Vampire Diaries universe and the experiments that Dr. Maxfield had been doing in this past season, or not even Dr. Maxfield, Elena's father had been conducting. He was able to cure illnesses that didn't have cures to them. So it seemed.
All right, because it would seem that she wouldn't want to give vampire blood because then, if the disease killed them, they'd have a lot of vampires running around all of a sudden.
Yeah, there's that. So that might have been her big concern with that. But I don't know. I was under the impression that it healed the disease.
Well, then, you know what? I have no idea.
So, yeah, I don't know. But at that point, during the flashbacks and everything, did it seem to you that Rebecca genuinely wanted to be Genevieve's friend?
Perhaps. Towards the end, after she realized, I think she wanted to start off using her, and then actually grew to somewhat like her.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's
So
definitely how I got the impression, and she kind of got backed into a corner.
yeah, she kind of, she backed herself into a corner, and she went back on the whole thing. As soon as it's done, she's like, no, 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 I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then it's like, it's kind of too late,
Yeah. Well, we had
the
learned.
newspaper burned up. You're screwed.
Yeah, we had learned that Rebecca was the reason why Michael came looking for them in New Orleans, which is actually something that we had already guessed about a few episodes ago. I think it was 2 episodes ago now when the resurrection actually happened amongst these three powerful witches, and we saw mention of Michael.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is something we came up with that that Rebecca was the reason why Michael came looking for Klaus in the first place in New Orleans, and that's why they fled, which is exactly what happened. But I don't think that was much of a surprise to anybody. I think you could kind of piece that together on your own. But the interesting thing I thought was we got to see some more background of just how long like this had been kind of in the making. Not that her intentions way back. She stole her father's dagger, and that clearly wasn't her intentions way back then. Even Klaus had stated she had a hatred for things that were made for only boys and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting to get some background on Rebecca, that this jealousy that she's had has been seeded oh so long ago. And then she had enlisted Genevieve to bring Michael to New Orleans, and Klaus is now just finding this out for the first time. Obviously, Klaus feels betrayed.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, Michael's gone. He's been dispatched of.
He's dead.
He's dead. So should he really be as upset as he is right now?
I think it's more, the whole reason he left New Orleans in the first place in the 1920s or whatever is because Michael found him and almost killed him and started burning the city.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he now realizes, oh shit, that was my sister all along, and he's just pissed off because he would have never had to have left. He could have been there in charge the whole time, and everything would have been nice.
Yeah, Marcel wouldn't have taken over.
Yeah, and none of the the shit that's happened this whole season would have happened at all.
Yep. Well, that also makes for a great story, so we're kind of glad that it did.
Yeah, it did make it. I'm kind of glad it did too.
Yeah. So, like we said, Marcel was kind of the key to figuring out how all this went down. He explains the situation to Elijah because he felt Elijah needed to know going into this how everything played out. Elijah instantly reacted the same way that Klaus would have. He grabbed him by the throat, pinned him up against the wall, and seemed like he was going to kill him. But Marcel convinced him otherwise, said he did it out of love, and you could see Elijah definitely related to that. So they said that they need to go prevent Klaus from finding out, or to find Rebecca before Klaus finds out. And so they head down to the sanatorium. They go investigating, they split up, they start looking through. In the meantime, we see Celeste coming out, and Haley just clocks her over the back of the head with a baseball bat.
Neither Omi nor I expected that.
Not at all.
At all. Oh my god, that was great. I'm like, okay, she's walking out. All right, so there's Elijah going to show up? Klaus going to show up suddenly? Who's she going to get attacked by? Which vampire? What's going to happen? And all of a sudden, clock it by Haley. I'm like,
yeah.
What? That was pretty awesome.
I believe I was about as dumbfounded as you two.
Yeah, because I was just like, where the fuck did that come from? And yeah.
So what do you think her intention is with Celeste?
I don't quite know, actually.
What I think, and this is kind of something they were alluding to in this episode, was Celeste was the one that actually cast the curse for the werewolves. For the family of werewolves. So I believe that Haley has taken Celeste to undo that. She wants the curse removed. Seems like the obvious choice, but do you think she also had some motivation to do this for Elijah as well?
Probably she feels like she needs to help out Elijah, and I don't know.
Yeah. Probably the second biggest surprise to me, which I didn't expect, was when Elijah plunged the dagger into Klaus's heart.
Yeah, that I didn't see that coming. I guess it's not that surprising.
In
Surprising.
retrospect, in retrospect,
Yeah,
it seems like the obvious choice, but when it happened, I was like, whoa.
yeah. He just showed up all of a sudden. And it's just like stab.
Yeah, because, well, but um, Rebecca, she refused to run from Klaus this time.
Hmm.
She stood her ground. Why do you think she chose now to stand her ground?
I think, as she said, she realizes that like he's like, "Aren't you gonna beg or run or anything?" And I think she said that I've come to realize that it's gonna do me no good anyway.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah, she also said that Klaus enjoys the chase. She wasn't going to give him that
right.
satisfaction.
That too.
And it seemed like everything that he would typically get satisfaction out, Rebecca was being, in other words, a wet blanket to his fun.
A wet blanket. Is
Yeah, I mean, this is what Klaus enjoys doing. He likes the torture. He likes it. And every time he had an answer for it, she's just like, or every time he had something to do, Rebecca had an answer for it, is what I meant to say. And it was just like, nope, you're not having your fun. I'm not running. I'm not doing this. But then she ended up fighting back. She started beating the shit out of him with a lead pipe. You know, it's just enough time for Marcel to come to the rescue, which didn't go over very well. He just got tossed aside like it was nothing.
mm-hmm.
And he threatened to kill Marcel. So Marcel's definitely wrapped up in this. Elijah comes, stabs the dagger through Klaus's chest, but he didn't let go. If you noticed, he was holding it, so
I think he realized
it wouldn't get sucked back into him.
Yeah.
So he told Rebecca and he told Marcel to run. Mm-hmm. And where do you think they're gonna go? Do you think they're gonna stay in New Orleans, or do you think they're just gonna flee completely? For the time being, anyway.
Bah, shit, I don't know. I think they're gonna flee for the time being, but they're gonna stay around close enough.
You would think. No, Rebecca knows she can't die. What is
Right.
Klaus gonna do? Stab her with the new dagger? Stab her with the old dagger? It doesn't matter what dagger.
Right. Thank you. Because Omi's not here. She had a theory that okay. She said, the show was originally slated to only run for half season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, that it was, it got put on for a full season, and now it's, they announced the second season, it's been renewed.
Right.
So her theory was that this scene with Elijah stabbing Klaus and everything was originally at the end of that 13 episode run, and that it was going to be the indestructible white oak dagger or stake that's missing right now,
Mm-hmm.
and that he was going to, Elijah was going to kill Klaus, and that was going to be it. But now that they, extended the season and now renewed it for a second season, they scratched that, but still used the whole Elijah stabbing him.
See, I don't know if they would have used the white oak stake, because the white oak stake would kill Klaus.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they would ever completely kill Klaus, because if they kill Klaus, then Stefan,
you're right.
Damon, and all them would die.
That wouldn't work as far as the whole,
Yeah.
lore universe, show universe would go.
Right.
But you gotta admit that's a good idea. I was like, she had me, sitting there for a few minutes in silence. Like,
We're not even 100% sure if the white oak stake can kill Klaus. We're assuming it can. It kills all the other originals, but Klaus is part hybrid, so we don't know 100% if the dagger works the same for him or not.
it would probably, because, like, it would kill, stabbing him through the heart with that would kill his original side, which gives him, honestly, it gives him most of his power. It gives him probably 90% of his power.
But do you remember the other dagger that they used? The dagger dipped in the white oak ash had no effect on him.
Right, exactly.
So if that had no effect, if it didn't immobilize him like it did the other ones, would the white oak stake kill him? I don't know.
We don't know. I mean, but if it did kill his original half, it's gonna kill his werewolf half too.
Maybe.
So, um, yeah, maybe. We don't know if it would even work in the first place. They were convinced it would.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Doesn't mean it would, but I don't know. Just a side note, one of the things that's really been bothering me, and I really took the time out this episode. Genevieve has looked so familiar to me, the actress, and I'm like, where is she from? And I looked her up,
where is she
and
from?
the actress is Elise Levesque, and she
Found her.
played Chloe in Stargate Universe.
God.
Yeah, it makes so much sense now. So that's where I've seen her. She's been in a few other things, but that was the most notable one to me. The other ones were minor, like 1 or 2 episode appearances that probably
Yeah,
wouldn't have
little
stood
things.
out. Yeah, so that was the one that stood out the most. So now that I've seen that, my mind is definitely at ease, and I can stop being frustrated at her. So I enjoyed the character. I think Genevieve is awesome. She's so badass. And so we've seen her now. We've seen Papa Tunde, and the third one, which I don't remember her name off the top of my head now, but we know that she was an elder just recent times or whatever, but we don't know exactly what she's capable of or if the entire reason that she was brought back was something to do with the harvest ritual itself. Bastiana. So, what do you think Bastiana's role in all this is? Because we haven't really seen her play anything out.
I think, okay, Papa Tunde came back to get revenge against Klaus.
He empowered the dagger. That was his
he empowered
main
the dagger.
point.
Yeah, I think he wanted, revenge against Klaus. Like if I had to pick all of them, let's see. Celeste.
Well, yeah, he had his revenge against Klaus, but Celeste selected them for their purpose, and it's not for their individual goals. It's for the goals that they could all bring to the table. Papa Tunde was to empower the dagger that would immobilize Klaus. Genevieve was to break up the Mikealson family. So,
by torturing Rebecca.
Does this mean that what did you say, Bastiana? Bastiana is part of this whole scheme? Is she just for the harvest ritual, or does she have an agenda that's even bigger than Genevieve's?
I think her entire motivation in this is to get back at Marcel for fucking up the harvest in the first place.
Could be.
So that's what I think.
But that sounds more like a personal agenda at that point.
They all have, this is all Celeste brought them all back for their individual what they can bring to the table, but they all have a personal stake in this.
Right, they do. But,
so I'm thinking
but they also have an overall agenda.
Right, exactly. But I'm thinking
so we've determined their personal agendas. What do you think Bastiana's purpose is?
Thing?
Yeah.
I don't quite. Maybe it would be true. No.
I think it has something to do with the harvest ritual.
It definitely has something to do with the harvest itself.
Hmm.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, God, this is annoying. I have no friggin' clue.
Hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what, but I feel like it's because the witches will lose their power if the harvest ritual doesn't go through. It was completed. They were all brought back, but in place of the little girls. But I don't know. I don't know if there's something more to it.
I don't know either. Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Okay, so next episode we have is called Le Grand Grenouille, which
more French.
Yes, more French. Which coincidentally enough, I looked into this place. This was a theater, an opera theater that was in Paris. So just going off of that, I think that's where Marcel and Rebecca are fleeing to. I think they are fleeing to Paris to get away from Klaus. That makes the most sense to me. Anyway, so the synopsis, which I have not read yet for the record, the synopsis says, a night at the opera, in a series of flashbacks to 1919, Klaus opens up to Camille and reveals details of the devastating secret Rebecca and Marcel were trying to keep from him. Elijah forms an unlikely alliance with Monique and asks for help in locating Sabine. So, does she not know that Haley has Sabine?
Probably not.
So, You think Haley's got Sabine tied out in the woods somewhere?
Probably in the swamp somewhere.
Or maybe in the burned down uh, house that Marcel used to own, the slave plantation.
Sure, that works.
Um, Elsewhere, Thierry is reluctant to get involved with Marcel and Rebecca. Uh, or is it reluctant to get involved when Marcel and Rebecca approach him with a plan to take down the witches? Okay, so apparently Marcel and Rebecca are still there. They did not flee to Paris. Um, Meanwhile, in the bayou, Haley is at her wits and holds Sabine hostage in an attempt to get information that will reverse the curse on her werewolf clan. So, yeah, Sabine looks to be tied up in the swamp out there.
Yep.
So, yeah, you looking forward to this episode?
Kinda. I've been looking forward for this show to come back for the last like what? Hey, cat, Jesus.
Wow.
Christ. I've been looking forward for this show to come back for the last 3 weeks. Anyway. So of course I'm looking forward to the next episode. I'm like always excited for the next episode.
Mm.
I was just reading a review on IMDb about the originals, how people like it because it's like gets away from like
The teen drama.
And the whole, Elena doppelganger thing is just getting played out way too much. It's now like it's getting boring.
Right.
So it's nice to see something different. And you know what? The show did have kind of a slow start. The first couple episodes were kind of shaky, but then
Like your camera.
That's a cat's fault. The first couple of episodes were kind of shaky, and then it just, went on, and I really like it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't wait for next week. I want more.
Yeah, obviously the big thing, but on the same hand, the Vampire Diaries started out as a doppelganger story.
True.
It's been there from the beginning. It's been seeded from episode 1. That Elena and Catherine were lookalikes. They were doppelgangers. We knew something was up with that. They've been exploring it deeper. So it's kind of a necessary evil at this point. But yeah, it's nice to be able to be in the same universe and have a fresh storyline take on something else. Obviously, there's a place for both of them. So the spinoff, I think, was the perfect thing that they could have done.
It was nice, yeah.
Which of these series, if you had to predict, which of these series will go longer? So season-wise, so like we're already in the 5th season for Vampire Diaries. This is only the first season of originals has been renewed for a second season. I don't believe we have word if Vampire Diaries is renewed for a 6th season yet. But we're gonna assume it is. And which one do you see going longer?
You know what? I don't know. Based on my personal feelings right now, I want to see originals go longer.
Right.
And I could see why they did the spin-off, because the originals, like the characters, there's a ton of character depth to them. There's so much backstory among them. And I mean, they have like, what, 1,000 years of their lifetimes to pull from if they needed to for other backstory. There's just so much there. And I would like to see it go on for, a lot of like 5, 6, 8 seasons, something like that. But the question I have is, can it?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't even know if the Vampire Diaries is going to make it to 8 seasons, to be perfectly honest.
If they go with some of the storylines that the book has been going with, I think they can.
They have material in the books, no problem.
Right. Whether or not they're going to continue to maintain viewership or not, that's another story. But I think just some of the stars that they have is what is holding the show together. I think, believe me, I believe a lot of people are tuning in to see Ian Somerhalder. I think he's the big draw to this show right now. And if it wasn't for him, if they were to somehow kill his character off or he was to leave the show for whatever reason, I definitely think the show would die.
Yeah, I agree. What was I going to say? I don't know. Oh, yeah, but we're talking like content in books. Like, there is a lot of content there. And I was reading, basic summaries of the books, and they're way different. Jesus Christ. fuck. I mean,
Don't
Elena's a.
spoil. Don't
I'm not
spoil.
spoiling. I'm
Don't
gonna say
say what
one
Elena
thing.
is. Don't say what Elena is in the books.
No, no, no. I'm not gonna say what she is. I'm just gonna say she's blonde in the books.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like a cheerleader, I think, or something. No, she is a cheerleader in the show, or
She
was.
was, yeah.
I don't know, but this thing I got is that her personality is entirely different, and she's a complete bitch or something. And I'm
Yeah,
thinking like,
she's a huge bitch in the books.
and I'm
She
like, why would anybody want to deal with this woman?
she was super self-centered in the books. So very, very different kind of characters. But like they've drawn on some, like, Klaus was in the other set, but I don't believe the other originals were.
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I again, I never read them, but yeah, they have plenty of material. Back to my main point, they have plenty of material to pull from the books to keep it going. If we want to talk about, I mean, look at Game of Thrones. Shit, there's enough material in those books to make the show last 30 years if they wanted to.
Right.
But obviously not.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Cat.
I think originals may have the potential to last longer because they have free reign to do whatever they want, basically.
Yes, I agree.
So, where even though the Vampire Diaries doesn't exactly follow the books, they kind of have some guidelines that they have to stick to.
Yeah.
So, I think that about covers it for this week. Mike, where can the people find you?
Twitter. Yeah, basically just Twitter at Thilladren, Thilladren.
You could also find me on Twitter at Phenomenon, Phenomedom. And you could find us both and more on tvcaptive.com, as well as YouTube, Facebook, Google+, Gmail, Twitter, whatever else. There is ASOTV podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows. Till next week. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Is Josie eating your camera again?
No, she's watching the cursor and thinking about it.
Ah.
Yeah, I had looked up for the end of Supernatural because, it's Crowley. He could search the bottom of the ocean really quick. I was curious. I looked up the square mileage of the ocean floor, and it's a lot. I don't think even a supernatural entity would be able to search it as quickly as we think.
Yes, they can.